Okay. So I'm just going to film the rest of this and I'll put it on YouTube. I'm getting in the zone and I keep like having to stop. Okay. So where were we? Yes, the big blocker. Okay. So we've moved on to, this is card number 9. We're going over to the 10. So this is a pretty significant card. This is the binder. So this is what you should not do. So this is what is kind of like your enemy in a way. So like this is a blocker and this is like to be avoided. This is interesting. This is the unraveler. So it's sort of the contrast to the binder here. So the binder kind of wraps things up and pulls things together. The unraveler is sort of releasing everything. So what this is telling me is like kind of like almost like get your shit together. Like a lot of this is sort of about bringing yourself together in a way, and I would say that's to kind of have more like confidence and to have more stability in yourself. So now is not the time to sort of like, and also like, you know, kind of mystically when you sort of like release into the void, like you sort of like let other forces guide you in a way. This is also saying not to do that. So now is the time to kind of trust your own intuition and kind of have more kind of faith in yourself to receive these messages, rather than letting forces act through you. And I think this kind of, yeah, we're going 10. Oh, yes, 10, 11. Have I lost the plot here? Yeah, no, I'm right. Yes. It's such a big reading. Like, look, I've got it up on the TV, so I'm just trying to make sure I've done everything correct, but I have. So yeah, this is sort of the ad, like, don't do this, don't sort of like unravel, because this is sort of about, this is a lot to do with, yeah, like pulling yourself together so you can kind of conquer these blocks. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is the gift. This is the thing that's going to help you. And this is actually, I think this is called like the Commonwealth, but this is specifically about fairy energy. Like, and it's not like fairy as in kind of like pixies, you know, this is about like real fae energy, nature spirits, trickster energy. It can also be about embracing like the strange. So your gift here is your weirdness, is your sort of unconventional path. So I am wondering if a lot of this is like, is there a feeling here of wanting to be more conventional, of like sort of a little bit of a hesitation to really kind of be as strange and offbeat as you want to be? Because this is like your gift here is the strangeness. Your gift here is sort of your, and it can even be something like a connection to nature, but I don't believe so because this card is in this position. This I think has to do more with unconventional means. And I think a lot of that is embracing your own unconventionality. I don't think that's a word. Unconventionalness in order to address this situation, because until you sort of let yourself be like the magician, you're going to be blocked a little bit on this path, because this is a magician's path. This is a magician's card. This card as well. So here, this is like the adversary. So this is kind of what's playing against you. And this card, it's almost like the Fool in tarot, but a bit more negative. So this is the empty vessel. So the look of this card, like it's meant to be drawn quite childish. You know, you've got a guy here, he's bought all the fancy clothes, he's got like all of his fancy wands and stuff. He's kind of playing dress up without knowing what he's doing. And you can see here that this person, because they're a completely empty vessel, malevolent entities, malevolent forces can quite easily influence. So this, I would say, if we're kind of following on with the story that's unfolding here, because there might be a sense of looking to other people around you and not necessarily heeding your own intuition, you're sort of opening yourself up to take on bad ideas. I think this is something more like a bad idea than something like a negative energy or a negative spirit, just because of this card. This card specifically, it can be like other like spirits and stuff, but there's other cards that mean that stronger. This to me is bad ideas from people around you. Like you, essentially, you know what you're doing. You just need to give yourself permission to ignore the people around you and do what it is you need to do. And this card is saying the worst thing you can do right now is listen to other people and not listen to your own advice. Like this is kind of almost like this position, I suppose, in tarot would be something like the devil. So don't leave yourself open to other influences, because that's the enemy on this path, you know. And it's especially with this card being like the theme of it, It's also about discernment, because while you can't be open to negative influence, you can't be open to the voices of people around you, you must still kind of ironically or conversely be open to the influence and guidance of spirits and enlightenment and reading the cards. So discernment, I think, is a big thing for any kind of magical worker, and that's the big challenge here. It's learning to find out what voices are here for you and what voices are here that should be discounted. So these two. So this has a lot to do with the inner world. So things like dreams, visionary art. And this is where it's something more like this one here. We'll get to this one, but I'll start with this one. So these guys, this is like a magical concept of well, and these are the threshold guardians. So this is kind of a very Korean concept. These are basically magical guardians that will prevent you from advancing along a magical path when you're not ready. So this kind of comes back to this spirit as well here. This is almost like a grand threshold guardian, but this is like quite a significant step in the magician's journey, whereas these guys will show up anywhere where it's like it's too much for you or you haven't kind of reached that level yet. And they're things that can be kind of not necessarily worked with, but they'll show up. So this in your dreams, this kind of card being like a blocker in your dreams tells me as well that like there is a sense of being held back with your intuition, with kind of like your spiritual inner world. And that these guys are showing up because in essence, like there's a sense of not being ready. There's a sense that you're still in a little way too under the influence of something negative for you to really kind of get what it is that they want to show you. So I think when you kind of step more into your power, this will kind of clear up in dreams, but there is a sense of needing to be more solid for them to give you what they want to give you. Until you're ready, they're not going to show you what you want to say. So especially if you're trying to do like magical work or any kind of visionary work and you're finding like it's just fizzling, that's probably what this guy here is. This is quite a negative card. So these are the choppers. So in Korea, there is definitely a sense of like negative spirits, negative energies. For example, when New Moon was closing, I would get this card a lot for the energy around. So they're almost like, I guess like spiritual maggots, like where energy is breaking down, these guys will kind of show up to sort of like further break the energy down so it can kind of be recycled. So I would say like, so this is like for visionary magic, there is a sense here of things being unraveled. And I would take this as kind of a warning, like that it's like, it is kind of serious. It is almost like that there is a vulnerability here that's coming through insecurity, that's letting negative influence kind of come in. And these two cards being together say that like energetically and magically, it does look like you're a bit blocked up. And I think that will resolve if there is more of like a sense of, yeah, and it is like this card I think is quite significant because this is sort of almost like the way forward here. To sort of move on, you have to like really have faith in yourself, but it's to do with being strange. It's to do with being quirky, you know, like to really move on this path, you have to be unconventional. You have to be a bit of a weirdo, I think. And it's saying like, yeah, do that. Like stop trying to be presentable to the people around you or trying to be wise and do it your way. Do it the Dennis way, you know, as weird as that might be. So okay, this is a bit of a brutal card. So this one is this is like the advice offered on success. And this card is called the Dead End card. So the vibe I'm getting from this reading is like right now it's not necessarily time to turn to like spiritual advice or anything like that. There is a sense of needing to draw on your own power before you can move forward. So it's almost like the spirits are waiting to see if you can become the vessel where they can communicate, because right now it's like there's a cacophony of noise around you and they can't reach you, or there's either kind of blockers in place where they can't reach you. So for now there's like, it's almost like a bit of silence from like almost like your guardians and stuff. That doesn't mean it's going to be forever, but I would just say that's probably why this card is showing up in this position. Okay, where are we? These guys almost at the end. So this is danger. This is things that stop progress. So this is the Chariot. And I would say this being in this position is the idea of trying to kind of push through blindly without addressing the problem that's here. So until you can kind of start focusing more on your own voice, like this idea of needing to move forward, that's kind of fool's gold at the moment. Same with this card being in this position, saying that like this is done, like this is where you are right now, and until you can kind of push through these particular blocks, it's not the time to kind of move forward or like start new projects. You've got to resolve this thing here until for things to start progressing. Like you can't like keep going. Okay, these are the final two cards, and I think this puts like a really nice cherry on top, because all this is kind of like, this is kind of why I like the Mr. Gorgas deck too. It doesn't really pull punches. Like, this is a bit of a brutal reading. This is kind of like a bit of a get your shit together reading. Like, like if you want to do this, if you really want to be a proper reader and you want to do this project that you have in mind, stop listening to people around you. Stop kind of opening yourself up to influence. You have to focus on yourself and your own intuition and your own discernment, and then things will start opening up for you. Because this card, so this is the East Gate. This is what's coming in. This is what's going to influence you. And this is a really cool card. So like, you know, in the Hermit card where he's holding the lantern, and the lantern is like all of his experiences, all of his wisdom, all of his magical growth, and that's what's guiding him on his own. This is the lantern. This is all of your wisdom, everything you've done, the way you've grown. And the way to move forward in this situation is to look at your lantern, no one else's. You're here, you're alone on the mountaintop. And this is your lantern. And the way to move forward through all of this is no one else's advice, it's yours. You know, 50 years of experience you have, like, that's a lot to put in a lantern. So instead of kind of trying to get too much advice from people around you, or even like, oh, I should do it like this person, I should do it like this person, you have to do it the Dennis way. You have to be your own teacher, be your own guide. And this card for like, this is what will come. So like the result of the current situation. This is the Spirit Contact card, which I think is really interesting, given like that all of these cards are sort of about negative contact and not kind of being in contact with spirits. It's sort of saying if you progress, like, especially if you meet all these challenges, these are kind of like, so you have the Magician here, and she's talking to, these are three nature spirits. So this is specifically about being strongly guided by spirits, working with spirits. You know, like if you want to do a magical work and you're like, what should I do? This is saying specifically work with the spirits around you. So I do believe like if you can sort of break this block here, that what kind of will open up for you, and that's through your own wisdom, nobody else's, this is through your own wisdom, that there is kind of this great, and particularly these are wind spirits, so this has a lot to do with communication, this has a lot to do with messages, oracle, that sort of thing, that this will result in much, much stronger intuition and much stronger relationships with the spirits around you. So I hope that was a nice reading. It's kind of a bit brutal, eh? But I think, well, tell me what you think. Tell me if you have any more questions.